Mr. Banks, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Acting Secretary Sue, your proposed apprenticeship rule cites the Advisory Committee on Apprenticeships recommendations to justify its DEI policies, which say that some apprenticeship sponsors are, quote, are actively hostile to hiring minorities. Can you explain what that means, and do you agree that some registered apprenticeship programs are managed by racists? And if so, who are they?
So, Congressman, I believe that we have the opportunity in this country at this time, given the unprecedented investments that are being made in American industry, in American jobs, in what the president says all the time, we should be able to make things here, right? We invented semiconductors, and there's no reason why we can't be the ones to manufacture them.
I understand. I understand all that, but the committee's justification for the rule specifically says, quote, that some apprenticeship sponsors are actively hostile to hiring minorities. Does that mean that there are racist apprenticeship programs in our country?
Well, so I don't know specifically the quote that you're reading from, but let me just say
it comes from
that
the recommendations for the rules from your department.
because of the opportunities that are being created right now, I think that there is no reason why we should not be able to tap into the full talent and ability and promise of every single American in every single community.
Fine.
And part of what has held people back from that, though,
what are the racist apprenticeship programs that we're talking about?
Well, part of what has held people back from being able to participate fully in American life and take advantage of the opportunities that should be available to everybody is discrimination.
It's a simple question. What are the racist apprenticeship programs in our country that you're referring to?
Well, I think that what we should be doing is both making sure that opportunity is broadly shared and our investments
I take it you don't want to answer that question, so I'll move on. The recommendations also say that registered apprenticeships have been, quote, the domain of white, able-bodied men. That's a direct quote from the recommendation from the committee in your department. Do you agree with that comment?
I don't know what you're reading from, Congressman. What I believe is that
I'm reading from the Advisory Committee on Apprenticeships biannual report to the Secretary of Labor, dated May 10, 2023, page 14, that is the justification for the rule, the new apprenticeship rule that justifies forcing DEI programs and mandates on apprenticeship programs. So I'm reading directly from something that comes from your department, and I'm asking if you agree with it. Do you agree with this statement that apprenticeships have been the, quote, domain of white, able-bodied men? Do you agree with that?
Sir, it sounds like you're reading from a report that was submitted to me.
You've quoted and used to justify the DEI programs and the rule. I mean, this is all coming from your department. I'm just asking if you agree. If you don't agree with this, say you don't agree with it.
What I believe, Senator, Congressman, is that we are a country.
I take it you don't want to answer the question. Let me ask you this a different way. Is having fewer white men in apprenticeships the goal of all of the DEI provisions in the proposed rule?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is having fewer white men in apprenticeships the goal of the proposed DEI rules and mandates in the rule? Is that the goal, to have fewer white men in
Absolutely
apprenticeships?
not.
Okay. Will the department punish states that don't meet the proposed rules' racial quotas?
I mean, Congressman,
I have a good reason for asking that, because the proposed section 29.27B2 would require states to submit a strategic plan for increasing participation from underserved communities that include the current participation by each race and demographic group, and set specific targets for increasing participation for each race. So can you explain to me how that, would you or wouldn't you punish states that don't meet that and those racial quotas for apprenticeships?
I mean, Congressman, we have never gone wrong in this country when we have expanded opportunity to more individuals, to more communities, and to make sure that everybody gets to participate.
Punish states like Indiana that don't meet that mandate.
I don't even know what punitive scheme you are talking about. When we engage with employers, with workforce boards, with unions, with community-based organizations. These are all the stakeholders that I regularly engage with when I travel the country to talk about how we're going to help meet the workforce needs of employers and the desire to work of Americans of all communities, urban and rural, of all colors, women, individuals with disabilities, veterans. Our apprenticeship programs and our investments
I
are meant
suggest that
to
you
open
read
up opportunity.
read your own rule, your justification behind it. It's very offensive, I believe dangerous and un-American. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.